Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are going to take a look at another of the newest Attack Pack figures to hit the United States, although it's not that new. Again, just like I had stated in the Troodon review, this one's been out for a little while now. I just could not find it at all. But this is the newest variant of the Gallimimus Attack Pack figure, and it's one that I was really psyched about because if you are familiar with the Kenner Gallimimus, you'll clearly see the inspiration here as far as this paint scheme goes. So Mattel continues to blow me away with their devotion to this line and giving us really cool stuff continuously. Like with the Troodon, it's amazing how they reach back and find things like little obscure things that like you wouldn't expect a company currently to create, like the Troodon being kind of like the Telltale sort of a Troodon, very similar look, and this one having a kind of a throwback appearance to the Kenner Gallimimus. Mattel just really seems to know exactly what tugs at our heartstrings and likes to release that stuff for us. So a huge shout out to Mattel for being awesome and creating this really cool Kenner-inspired Gallimimus, because I think that was just one of the coolest things that they've added into their line as far as a throwback style figure goes, and it's something that I was so dead set on getting a hold of. Really wanted to get one. Hopefully at some point Mattel may release kind of a throwback Red Rex. That would definitely be something that I would like to see personally. But again, really fun looking Gallimimus here, so let's go ahead and get a closer look at it right now. Now, as far as the sculpt goes, the sculpt is exactly the same as so many of the previous Gallimimus releases, and in fact at this point we've had an entire flock of Gallimimus from Mattel to enter our collection. So this is just yet another to enter the flock, but again, sculpt-wise, there's nothing different with this one in comparison to the previous releases. It's an incredible sculpt overall, but since we've reviewed the figure numerous times at this point already, we really only need to look at what's new with the figure, and that would be the paint application. So you can see up here at the head sculpt, we have a really nice bluish coloration as well as a yellow eye with a black pupil, and it's very nicely placed, actually quite perfectly placed. The paint application also has a nice gloss coat to it, so it shines like a real eye would. The actual pupil placement may not be the most perfect placement for the Gallimimus, but it still looks pretty decent, I would say. As we start to move back into the neck region, you could see the blue kind of stripe down, and then we also pick up with a red, like a very dark red, almost a maroonish type red that also stripes as we move down the neck. And then you can see that same coloration continue as we move down the body. The blue continues to stripe down. Here it becomes almost more like a leaking effect as opposed to a striping, and then it kind of tapers off to just a bluish area up here on the back without really striping down into the side or anything. But you can see that the reddish coloration, that maroonish coloration, starts to pick up a little bit larger up here in the back in the spinal column area, and then kind of tapers off until we get down by the tail. And then once we reach the tail, there is no alternate paint application at all. It just kind of tapers off to the primary body color, which is like this orangish type of a coloration. The underside, though, does have a nice creamy coloration, a nice off-white here that starts right in the lower part of the neck and then runs till we get to, again, right before the tail, similar area to where it stops with the blue and red up here. And that's really it as far as coloration goes, other than, of course, that speckling that we often get with Mattel figures, which you can see showing up here and there throughout the figure, which I do actually quite like, because anytime we can get at least a little bit of alternate color variation on a figure, I'm quite happy about that. And you can see it's actually nicely done for the most part on this Gallimimus. There are no painted nails or anything like that, not on the hands, not on the feet, no painted nails at all as far as this Gallimimus goes, and there is the Jurassic Facts app if you would like to add this to your collection. But again, that's really about it. Same sculpt as usual, just a nice, very cool looking Kenner-inspired paint scheme, and I absolutely love this figure. And then as far as articulation, it's all the same articulation that we've had with the previous Gallimimus. So if you've had any Gallimimus so far, you already know what the articulation is, but you could see we have the neck articulation, which is really smooth. You can look up really high or again down really low if you'd like to make it appear as though the Gallimimus is getting a bite to eat, taking a drink, something like that. We also have articulation in the arms, which moves really nice and smoothly. Articulation in the legs, which also works quite nicely, and you can see that in both legs again. And then that's it. That's really the only articulation. You would think there'd be like a swivel tail, but there is not on the Gallimimus, and they haven't updated it yet to have that kind of swivel tail articulation. But Regardless, I don't feel like it really needs the swivel tail because it doesn't really do much as far as posability for a figure to just flip the tail upside down, so I'm okay with the lack of a swivel tail on most of the attack packs, honestly. But as far as a size goes, if we actually take the head of the Gallimimus, put it straight out like that, we'll get probably a little bit of a longer length for the figure, a more accurate length. You're looking at right around the 7-inch range, or about the 17.5. We're closing in on 18-centimeter range, somewhere in that vicinity. Now I knocked the poor thing over. And then for a height, if we put the head up nice and high, and we measure it right there, I have it in a kind of an awkward position, so it's not standing too well at this point in time, but it is about 4.25 inches, or around the 10.5, 11-centimeter range, which you couldn't really see from your vantage point, but trust me, that's what it is. But for a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line next to our newest version of the Attack Pack Gallimimus, and you can definitely see that it is exactly the same size as all of the previous Gallimimus figures go, because it's, again, right in that same Attack Pack size range as all of the other Attack Packs are. They're usually right in that same similar size range. This Gallimimus is absolutely no different, but again, I think it's a really nice size figure for a Gallimimus, and overall is gorgeous. So this newest variant of the Attack Pack Gallimimus from Mattel is awesome. Definitely one of my favorite versions of the Gallimimus from Mattel. Obviously not because it sports a really nice screen accurate paint scheme. We have had similar looking paint schemes in the past to sort of like movie accurate film or screen accurate paint schemes. This one is definitely not that. This one sports, again, that very cool throwback style look, a very vintage Kenner style paint scheme for the overall Gallimimus, and I love the fact that they've done this. And again, I hope that they start to do this with more figures in the future as far as this Mattel line goes. I would love to see more throwbacks, more kind of Kenner-inspired paint schemes, just for that nostalgic feel that I love. Every time I see this figure, again, I get that instant Kenner feel from it, but there's nothing cooler, in my opinion, than taking the two best producers of Jurassic figures, Kenner and Mattel, and then mixing them into one figure. That is just absolutely awesome. Of course, the actual sculpt is beautiful. As far as accuracy goes, when it comes to the sculpt, it's a really nice and very screen accurate interpretation of a Gallimimus from Jurassic Park. So, as always, Mattel has done a tremendous job on that as well. And then you include some really cool articulation, and you have an absolutely awesome Attack Pack Gallimimus figure. So if you would like to pick one of these up, make sure you head to your local Target, and hopefully you will acquire one. Unfortunately, in my area, they are non-existent, and I had a very hard time finding one, so Killer Shrew Fan was able to step in, help me get a hold of one. So again, a huge thank you goes out to him. Make sure you check his channel out. Again, one of the best dinosaur review producers out there currently. And also make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.